What's up, you guys? Godzilla Fan Freaks coming at you today with another figure review. And today we are taking a look at the X Plus Gigantic Series Final Form Frieza. As a lot of you know, I love Dragon Ball Z. I collect Dragon Ball Z, memorabilia, same as Godzilla and Kaiju stuff. And I haven't really gotten hardcore into the X Plus Dragon Ball Z line, but I do have a few select favorites so far that they have come out with. Still waiting for them to come out with a Piccolo. X Plus, get on a Piccolo. Now, do it. Anyways, let's get straight on into this review with the box. Take a quick look at the box here. Let me scoot him kind of back here. Here's the box for the Frieza. Very nice open window on the front. Dragon Balls on the side there. Picture of Frieza there on the back. Of course, on the top it says Dragon Ball Z, Final Form Frieza. Frieza 4th form, I should say. It's actually what it says, Frieza 4th form. But pretty much both on the same sides, and of course, bottom, nothing too, just plain. Anyways, that's the box, Frieza, very nice, very basic. But let's get it straight on into this figure review with paint job. Now, actually not with paint job. Frieza comes with a stand because he really can't stand on his own because of the way that the sculpt is. You can't really move his legs or anything like that. And, the way that his tail is, you really can't stand on his own unless he's leaning up against somebody else. But he does come with this stand here. It has a little U-shape, cradle for the tail. And then, of course, it plugs right into this base. Doesn't really show up too much considering it's all, clear, plastic and whatnot. And then you kind of have like a die-cast metal rod here for the stand itself. But very, very basic, but it works very well. So let's get that out of the way. Now let's go into paint applications with this figure. Frieza, very basic for his paint applications. Of course, his body is all white with, of course, the purple patches on his armor, or whatever you want to call it. Very nicely well done, though, applied, but his body isn't all just plain flat white. As you can see, there is some very nice blue-grayish shading all over his body, which gives his whole body a very good amount of definition. Definitely brings out the muscle tone all the way around on his body. Definitely looks really, really nice. All the purple patches on his body, very nice and shiny. The purple patches that are on his chest, his forearms, and his shins down here are actually translucent purple pieces. The ones on his shoulder and his head are not. They're just, a solid flat purple color. But the ones that are on his chest, his forearms, and his shins are translucent. I don't know if any of that's going to show up on camera that you can see that they are translucent. But they are, clear, translucent purple patches. Very, very nicely well done. But again, you got all that nice, blue-grayish shading all over the body. You can definitely tell on his back and in his tail. Just very, very nicely well done. Lips, very nice purple. Eyes are white, of course, with the red pupils. Very nice and evil looking. I mean, just Frieza is the epitome of evil. I mean, you don't get more evil than this and this pose right here. This is his famous Frieza pose, where he is summoning 50% of his power when he's fighting Goku on Namek. Let's see, his nails on his hands and his feet, of course, are black. Very nice touch black. No bit of paint slop whatsoever. We all know X Plus to make great kaiju figures and whatnot, but their Dragon Ball Z figures, even though they're a little less detailed because, they're anime characters, they still do not spare any expense. These figures look great. The muscle tone in Frieza is very nicely well done. I guess we'll move on to detail now. Muscle tone in Frieza's body is fantastic. Very nicely well done applied. Again, that grayish, bluish shading all over his body really helps bring it out, especially on his back and whatnot. But very nicely well done muscle tone all over his body and his back, his chest, his arms, his legs. Very nicely well done. Tail. Very nicely well detailed with kind of the line creases and everything that are all in his tail going all the way down to the very tip. Very, very nicely detailed and helps define his tail a little more. That way it's just not all smooth. Definitely gives it that little added pop. Very nicely well done. Face, very nicely well sculpted. You know, again, just that evil smile, Frieza smirk that he always has. Very nicely well done. Hands, very nicely sculpted. Palms, knuckles, you know, all the segments of his fingers and whatnot. Very, very nicely well done. No cut corners. Even though these are anime characters and they're not, you know, kaiju or anything like that, very, very nicely well done. No bit of slop whatsoever, even on the bottom of his feet, you know, very nicely well done and detailed. No complaints about this figure whatsoever. Just looks fantastic. Again, X Plus, as far as articulation goes, he doesn't have much. I mean, his tail, you can get, you know, the segments to move however you want. You got this piece here that's separated in a segment that you can get to rotate. And of course, you have this one here that you can get to move. And then the one that connects to his body, you know, it kind of really securely fits in one way because he's supposed to be in one particular pose, but you can kind of mess around with it just a little bit. And then, of course, his shins right here have a little bit of rotation to where you can get his, you know, feet and stuff to pivot, even at his ankles as well. That way you can help him stand better to where he won't topple over. And again, the stand that he comes with really helps out a lot too. What you want to do when you apply this stand is you kind of want it like, you know, so, if anything, more like this. And then you just kind of put the cradle, let me turn this way so you can actually see. You put the cradle right pretty much, and his tail will, you know, slide right in there to where it hugs it very well. And as you can see, this way he kind of doesn't want to stand, but that's because you really want to turn the stand. No, wait, what am I doing? See, now I can't even remember how this goes. It's because I messed with his feet a little bit. All right. Move that back on his tail a little bit. All right, there we go. That's a little better. So you kind of want it to where his back foot here is pretty much on the base itself a little bit. His front foot doesn't really touch the base whatsoever. He kind of hovers above the ground a little bit with that front foot, but that's okay. And then the rest of the base, you kind of want it to fill in this spot right in here. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. Hopefully it's showing up okay. But you kind of just want this spot of the base to kind of fill in this little part here. Because if you kind of have it turned and more off to this side, it's not really going to work. And he's still not pretty much straight the way he started off when I did this review. That's because, again, I messed with him, and now I gotta, you know, I gotta, oh, what's the word? Ah, man, I just had a brain fart. Anyway, I just gotta mess with him now a little bit to get him pretty much perfect again when he's standing on the shelf. But I'll do that, of course, off camera. I'm not gonna waste a lot of time here. He's pretty much standing as good as I can get him to right now. I'll just have to mess with him later. Anyway, paint job, detail, articulation, kind of is none. All great, great figure. Frieza, 4th form, X Plus Gigantic Series, great figure. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, you can pick up the Dragon Ball Z X Plus figures for relatively not cheap, but if you know anything about X Plus, you know they are expensive, especially the Godzilla and Kaiju figures. You know, they are a pretty penny. But the Dragon Ball Z figures, you can, you know, if you got a job, you know, you can afford them. I mean, sometimes you can find them for less than $100. I mean, that's just, you know, depends how much you hunt. Again, Frieza and a few of the others have been out for a while, so you might be paying, you know, a little bit more. But I have yet to see an X Plus Dragon Ball Z figure go for over $200. So again, you know, they're relatively affordable. Again, as long as you have, you know, some steady income. So again, if you like Dragon Ball Z, this is definitely something I would recommend you look into. Their X Plus line is really great. They have several characters out: Vegeta, several forms of Goku. I believe there's a Gotenks. There's a couple forms of Boo out there. I believe there's an Android 18 coming out. They got Cell, and so on and so forth. So, you know, they got a good lineup for figures and whatnot. Again, I'm just waiting for them to come out with a Piccolo. Please come out with a Piccolo. Anyway, that's about it for my review on this guy. Hope you guys enjoyed, and that's about it. Like always, we're Godzilla fan freaks. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next figure review. Thank you for watching.